Christian Parker comes over from the Philadelphia Eagles at the age of 34 to be the Dallas Cowboys' new coordinator. We have the coverage on your home of America's team, John Owning, who will be on the G-Bag Nation today. And I also wanted to have John on today because he came out and was not a fan of the Eberflus hire. He said it first, and he ended up being right. So I was like, okay, how does he feel about this? And he goes, A. I give this coaching hire an A. Every piece you read on Christian Parker details his incredible memory and note-taking process. The I don't want to hire a DC who will get head coach interest quickly brigade, Chop, is not going to be happy with this hire, Owning says. Parker has future NFL head coach written all over him. Cover 6 and cover 8, in addition to penny fronts, are back on the menu. And someone's like, what the hell is cover 8? And he was talking about lit field coverage, basically cover 2 to the passing strength and quarters to the other side, very similar to cover 6, which is quarters to passing strength, and cover 2 to the other side. Both are zone match in this system. So that'll be a follow-up question, Bobby. What will his style be, having learned under Vic Fangio?
Yeah, there's a lot of, it's funny, there's a, Cody Alexander over at Match Quarters has some different articles written about what he has termed, what other people have also called Fangio adjacent. So Fangio is he does his own primary stuff with, man match and does a lot of really unique things. And so then there are these other coaches that have a lot of the similar concepts, but maybe their own flair to it, or they have their own sort of thing. And that's typically termed Fangio adjacent. And that's what Christian Parker is thought to be, that he's learned certain things from Mike Pettin and some others and would probably incorporate some various things. But a big chunk of it, a lot of the heart of it, will be related to Fangio stuff, which is very demanding and takes guys really learning and really studying and being able to.
Then why would you be so excited about that when you weren't for Flores because of the challenges learning?
So because the bigger reason why I would like Parker is because of the stuff with Flores is a lot of times going to be, it's the pre-snap stuff in terms of what you're showing, rotating down the right way, being in the right position, seeing those sort of things. The pre-snap stuff is not difficult with the Fangio stuff. They're going to give you here's the look. It's just reading it. So there's two different aspects of reading things and disguise and different things like that Flores typically does within his system. So he's going to show you different things before the snap with blitz looks and then rotations quickly back to where you're trying to run back to get into, the deep middle. Whereas with Christian Parker, they're generally going to show you this is what we're looking like. We're not going to do a bunch of exotic looks or anything else. This is what it looks like, but we can do a number of different things out of this. And so, obviously, we haven't seen Christian Parker as a defensive coordinator yet, but everything that he's talked about on the record and some of the things that you've seen from Fangio and others is that would be the approach.
Because he's a secondary guy, Owning also went and got the coverage diet from the Eagles last year. What they did, cover 6, 18.3% of the time. Cover 1, 18.2% of the time. Cover 3, seam 12%. Quarters, 14.5%. Cover 3, 22% of the time. So he breaks it down into 7 or 8 different other categories. So there you go for your football breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, and he, by comparison, had included there the Cowboys breakdowns and how it will be different. You're going to be looking at different concepts and different coverages and things that they want to do, and that's big. Okay, I understand. To me, the issue with Matt Eberflus was not necessarily running a bunch of cover 3 or doing this or doing that. The issue to me with Matt Eberflus was how just ridiculously conservative he was, how little he wanted to disguise that cover 3 look, how little he wanted to adjust within it, and clearly what were really bad communication issues to the point that guys looked like, I've never seen how to operate within the most basic coverage concepts in football. I've never done it. And in an instant, in a season, became the worst communicating team in football.
So what you're saying is, you can't say keep it simple because it was already simple enough, and they still couldn't figure it out.
No, I think that it's the clip that Shoddy had that we played where he said, you want to have you want somebody who can explain complicated things in a simple way.
Yeah.
Matt Eberflus was not good at explaining things. He made simple things complicated. And that's what I think frustrated a lot of people.
Ted Wynn from The Athletic says, all right, look at the Cowboys' roller coaster defensively of scheme. Mike Zimmer, aggressive, match coverage. Eberflus, conservative, zone. Christian Parker, Fangio, too high. So that's a little background. Let's hear from him.
So this is a couple different clips from Christian Parker, which, by the way, T. Rainey just tagged us. Justin Simmons also, glowing over Christian Parker on social media and saying how great he is. And, he deserves this moment. He's going to be great. Y'all better believe it. This is Christian Parker with the Denver Broncos, where he worked with Justin Simmons. This is the cut 22, Peyton. And this is Christian Parker talking a little bit about what his philosophy is.
Number one, it's important to definitely engage with the players, letting them know that, number one, that you care. And once they figure out that you care and you're invested in them and their overall development, then the schematics and the technique and everything else take care of itself. But I think that it's very important to engage with those guys, be very thorough and detailed, and not really leave anything to chance, so they know exactly when they go on the field, they have a very distinct plan. They understand what we're expecting from them, and they know what the expectation is from each other, and moving forward in that direction.
I think that was going to be a big thing for clearly the way Shoddy had laid things out was going to be, hey, he listed, we want somebody who is a good communicator, which he just talked about there. That's top line item to me. But all of the details and all the drilling down on things and making sure that that's clear and making sure that that's precise. And you hear some of the just wild stories in these articles about how detail-oriented he is and the records and logs he keeps and the things that he does to make sure that I've got everything in place where it needs to be. And that's how he got the job in Green Bay, was he blew Pettine away when he walked in there of just how prepared he was and how much he understood everything.
Yeah, when they were interviewing all of the, not grad assistants, but what's the lowest level here?
Quality control?
Quality control. He really jumped out amongst the three and was like, this isn't normal when they're quizzing them, and doing all the homework. And then because he blew them away so much in answering, he got offered the job on the spot. And I think was he at A&M?
Yeah, he was at A&M.
And Elko's like, you got to go. This will be life-changing. But he blew them away, and it was like, this is a very unusual interview and test with the way you're answering these things.
Yeah, it's super prepared, super understanding. Pettine has talked about separately that there's very few people he's ever run into. And Mike Pettine coached in the league for a long time and ran really high-level defenses for a long time. But he said there were not many people he had run into in his coaching career, specifically at that age, who understood the way each individual job was supposed to flow into an entire defensive concept and how it was supposed to work together. So really advanced knowledge, really advanced understanding. And him being as detail-oriented as that is and saying, hey, the biggest thing for me is I got to connect with the players and pass that on to them. That's going to be big. This is another clip from him. This is him with the Eagles. This was last year, him talking to the media. And he was being asked about traits that you look for. We hear here all the time in Dallas about, well, that guy doesn't have the length that they like at that position, doesn't have this, doesn't have that. One of the things that they do...
Linderbaum, doesn't have big enough butt.
A lot of that is...
Phil Costa, too short arms.
A lot of that is going to be personnel department philosophy. But one of the things, the good things I think Will McClay does, and one of the things that I think has been effective for them is every time a new coach gets hired, they will do a sit down with them before the draft and before free agency and stuff like that of just, hey, sit down with our personnel department and do a presentation of what you look for skill-wise, talent-wise, different things like that, and show us examples of it with guys we already have in-house. So, just show us examples of, hey, when I saw this, that's what I like, so that we can all get an understanding of these are players we're familiar with and that's skill sets we're familiar with. Go find that. All right, we'll find that for you. So, is he going to be super specific about what he needs, or is he going to be just like, I need a football player? This is Christian Parker talking about the traits he looks for specifically in corners.
I would say the body types are less important, more about the execution of what we're asking them to do. So each day gets graded from your zone eyes, your coverage, your man discipline, your communication, meeting room, how we're handling that. All those things kind of go into one bucket in terms of how it's a daily evaluation. So we usually try to give them something that we know get better at or we didn't take a step forward at each day, try to progress on that. But I wouldn't say we're really leaning into something that we want the prototype for that position to be. It's more sort of performance on the field.
I like it. To me, they always look for the quarterback with the laser rocket arm over the quarterback that just is a good decision maker. And I think we all would take a great decision making quarterback 10 times out of 10 over anything else. And you want to have a defensive player. Yeah, it'd be great if he's 6 foot. It'd be great if they were all Nation Wright.
Yeah.
With Deion Sanders' coverage abilities, that'd be great. But I just want somebody who gets in front of somebody.
All right, you ready for the Grim Shreefer?
Yep.
All this is nice and glowing, and all this is positive.
What are you doing on a Friday before we're about to get iced in? You're going to dump on them.
And this is the fun part. This is hyping up the new guy and the glowing reviews, and
I'll get somebody else to ask these questions.
All the great notes, and he's so smart, and he cares more than everyone else. You're going to hear this with every single hire, basically, throughout the National Football League. Now, the reality hits here in terms of the front office's job now, because this is going to mean very little if they put the talent out there and don't acquire significantly better players than what they had last year. What happens, I think, a lot of times with this hype is now you're supposed to basically take the same personnel and you're supposed to be this really good coach. The Cowboys,
miracle worker.
Cowboys flagship turned you into this miracle worker. Why does the defense still suck? It's still, bottom line, comes down to players. So the real pressure is on the front office and the personnel to add to this horrific talent. So
yeah, there's going to be there's no doubt. At the end of the day, it is about the players, and I have no doubt to hire somebody who's never been. Has he been a defensive coordinator ever? No, right?
No, he's not.
So there's going to be some bumps in the road. That's expected. It's expected with Schottenheimer. Every head coach who is now hired this year, Jesse Minter hired. If they've never been a head coach, there's going to be some bumps in the road. That is just the reality of it. So we're going to have to prepare ourselves for that. But we don't know enough. Say, oh my God, this is the greatest hire ever, and we all, because we've never seen him do the job.
Yeah,
and we can't say it's the worst hire ever because we've never seen him do the job.
Right.
Yeah, and I think pedigree matters too. Like when we're talking about, he's never done the job, but it's like, okay, but the people.
It didn't matter for all the former coaches that they wanted to be D coordinators here.
Right, no,
which is actually a good thing, a nice refreshing change in this instance. But yeah, I was all for pedigree with former head coaches coming to be your coordinators to help your head coach as well. Failures.
Yeah, no,
except for Dan Quinn.
And I'm not even talking about a pedigree in terms of experience. I'm talking about in terms of who have you learned under. And these are the last, 6 defensive coaches that have been his immediate boss that he's worked for. Mike Elko, pretty good coach. Mike Pettin, pretty good coach. Vic Fangio. Ejiro Evero, who is the, Evero, whatever his name is. Carolina. He's the Carolina DC. Thought of really well. Vance Joseph, and then Fangio hiring him back away from Vance Joseph. Those are all really strong defensive names who have all kind of universally looked at him and said, want him on the staff, and want him participating. And I think that it's
Vance Joseph was quoted in Denver saying, and we'll talk to James Palmer, who covered Christian in Denver, Athletic, Bleacher Report. We've had him on before. He's fantastic. He'll be on at 8 o'clock. But Vance Joseph said, yes, Parker, absolutely smart. He works his butt off, and players love working for him. Quote, he's a star.
Yeah, and I think that, it's going to be on the front office 100% to shop for him. And we went over that study a couple weeks ago. They'll shop for the defensive coordinator the first year. When they hire somebody new, they go, okay, what do you need?
We got all the Micah money now.
Yeah, and so they'll do it. They'll go free it up. They'll go attack it. They'll get him stuff. I'm not saying they're going to go out there and sign Trey Hendrickson and every other most expensive free agent, but they're going to get him things that he wants. So that's a big part of it. But it's also the way that he maximizes players. And the way that he's able to get the most out of them, regardless of what they're. So I'm just happy to know, or I'm happy that I'm going to be confident that he's going to get me the most, I feel like, out of whatever Savone Revel's ceiling will be next year. I feel comfortable that he's going to get near it. Kalen Carson, who's been a disappointment, I feel like we're going to find out pretty quick if he can play. One interesting factor here that has not really been brought up, but safety. Malik Hooker's here. Donovan Wilson's contract has expired. Donovan Wilson has played for Christian Parker at Texas A&M. That was his senior year there, and Christian Parker worked with him, and they apparently have a decent relationship, the two of them. I don't know if that means he's going to just say, I like him, so I'm going to keep him around. Probably wouldn't. But it's just something to note there that those relationships exist. Does not have a very big coaching tree, obviously. Like, he's worked under guys more than he's had people under him that he's, kind of had. But he's somebody who I think building out the staff is going to be big for him, seeing what he's able to do there, proving that he can coach the broader defense like Pettine and Fangio have thought he could, but getting outside of just the defensive back coaching, showing that he can apply that, and showing, even though it seems like every spot he's done it, he's going to have to show here as well, you can talk to and be an authority with players who are around your age. Those are all three things that he's going to have to prove, but I think everybody around him seems to think he can do that.